So a video that I like to do every single year on my NBA channel is trying to predict the 30 best players in the NBA 5 years from now. And I'm putting that spin here on my NFL channel. And we are going to try to predict the top 15 quarterbacks in the 2031 NFL season. And this was very tough to do. Some of these guys are going to be in their mid to late 30s. Some of these guys might not even be in their prime yet. And this is really just me taking in all different factors, how I think they're going to age. How is the team dynamic around them? Can I trust the front office and the organization to build a successful roster around these quarterbacks as well? And I'd love to know what you agree or disagree with, or hey, let me know your top 5 or top 10 quarterbacks in 5 years from now down below in the comments. I wanted to put one quarterback that's not in the NFL yet. We could see multiple. There could be somebody in the 2027 draft. There could be somebody in the 2028 draft, maybe somebody in the 2029 draft that's already a top 10 quarterback a year or two into their careers. And there are a ton of honorable mentions. So the first one, Bo Nix of the Denver Broncos. This guy was the toughest one to leave off. Bo Nix will be 30, and I just wonder how his game is going to age as well in Denver. But I could look like a complete fool. And hey, maybe if I'm still making videos on this channel in 2031, we could react to this. I also have Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Maybe he takes a leap with Dave Canales over the next few years in Carolina. I do have Arch Manning. He's one of the guys that's not in the NFL that I could see being a top pick in the 2027 draft that does have the talent to become a top 15 quarterback in the league. I have Tyler Shuck of the New Orleans Saints, Jackson Dart of the New York Giants, Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Baker will be around 35 years old. I have Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. He'll be around 36. Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. He'll be 37. His game, I think, could age just fine, but I didn't have anybody over the age of 35 in 2031 in this ranking. So yeah, I wanted to put one guy that's not in the NFL yet, and that's going to lead off here at number 15. I have Fernando Mendoza of the Indiana Hoosiers as my 15th best quarterback for the 2031 NFL season. Mendoza, along with Kurt Cignetti, has turned that Indiana program around. They just won the Rose Bowl, blowing out Alabama. The tides have changed, and it feels like it's a completely new college football landscape. Mendoza won the Heisman this year as well. In about 14 games for Indiana, he has thrown 36 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards, a 72% completion percentage, and it's not a guaranteed lock that he's going to be the number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL draft, but it's looking like he will be, and he's going to end up most likely as a Las Vegas Raider unless something crazy happens in week 18. And I do think he has the intangibles, the IQ, the precision, and the progression rate where he can look like a top 15 quarterback one day. And I just thought if I was going to have somebody not in the NFL make this list, I was going to go with somebody that is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick that I think can at least be serviceable enough in 5 years from now that maybe doesn't have the highest ceiling as some of these guys in college, like a Dante Moore or any of the 2027 class guys, but at least has a high floor where I think he can at least be top 20. So I'm taking my chances here. He'll be 27 years old in the 2031 season, and I wonder if he is going to be a Las Vegas Raider in that year. So Mendoza coming in at number 15. Coming in at number 14, I have Sam Darnold of the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold is going to be 33 years old. He does have 2 more years left on the Seattle Seahawks contract, but I assume that he's going to re-sign with them at some point. The Seahawks are competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC going into week 18. So back-to-back years, Sam Darnold is competing for that 1 seed in week 18. And Darnold has been objectively good this year for the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, he's been cooling off a little bit as of late, but he's still going to throw for almost 4,000 yards this year, 25 touchdowns. He's at 14 interceptions. He's been turning the ball over a lot as of late. But now we have a 2-year sample size of Darnold being at least a top 15 quarterback in this league. The O-line has improved in Seattle, but it's still not a top unit. He does have an elite wide receiver out there in JSN. He's got 2 solid running backs in Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I think Torrey Horton could be a good player long term. We'll see if they end up re-signing Rashid Shaheed. And I just trust John Schneider in the front office and Mike McDonald, the head coach, to at least be a competitive roster throughout the next 5 years, which can elevate Sam Darnold's floor. Like, I went back and forth internally, Sam Darnold versus Bo Nix. Darnold's going to be a couple years older. I think he's got better arm talent, but is a lot less mobile. But is Sean Payton going to be around in 5 years from now when he's going to be 67 years old? So yeah, this one definitely could make me look like a fool in 2031. And hey, if I am looking like a fool, then we're going to react to it. Coming in at number 13, I feel really good about this one. I have Cam Ward of the Tennessee Titans. I think Cam Ward has looked so much better this year than what his numbers show. Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans were not a good team this year. They're going to have a top 5 pick in the draft, but Cam Ward was also thrown into the worst environment in the NFL. His head coach got fired halfway through his rookie season. His wide receiver one, Calvin Ridley, is not going to be on this team next year. He's throwing to other rookies, Chamari Dike and Alec Iromaner. But I think Ward's tape has looked really good. Yes, he needs to cut down on the really bad turnovers, and there's just some Jameis Winston in him, it feels like at times, but he's got about a 60% completion percentage, 3,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, in year number 1 as the reigning number 1 overall pick. He's 23 years old. I think there's still guys long-term on this offensive line that are going to be just fine. I'm also banking on hopefully this ownership and front office nailing the next head coach hire. Maybe it's a good offensive line like Mike McCarthy, and that could just elevate Cam Ward's floor throughout the next 5 years. He's going to be 28 years old, one of the younger quarterbacks that we're talking about in this ranking. And this is going to be the worst supporting cast of his career, because you really can't get much worse than this. They're going to have cap space. They're going to have high draft capital. Maybe they end up taking a Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson in this draft, and we get that young wide receiver 1 for Cam Ward moving forward. Maybe we get a more dynamic running back than Tony Pollard over the next 5 years. And I just think Cam Ward has the talent of being a top 15 quarterback in 2031. Okay, now this is where we get into a tier from 12 to 9, where I think these guys could be super interchangeable. At number 12, I have Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. Everybody's advanced stats darling. Jordan Love will be 32 years old in the year 2031. He's had a very successful career so far, having an above 500 season, all 3 years as a starter, but also not maintaining a top seed in the NFC as well, just finishing 9-8, 9-6 as a starter last year, 9-5-1 this year going into week 18. Jordan Love, 23 touchdowns to a career low 6 interceptions this year. I trust Matt LaFleur as his head coach and as the offensive mind for Jordan Love's development going forward. He got a massive extension. He just turned 27 years old. He's played in the playoffs multiple times. He beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs a couple years ago, and he's doing all this with like maybe 5 wide receiver 2s and 3s out there. Maybe we get somebody a little bit better over the course of the next 5 years than a Romeo Doubs or a Jaden Reed or Watson or Golden as his wide receiver 1 moving forward. Hopefully the offensive line gets a little bit better as well. But this is just me banking on the floor, and I think it's a pretty safe pick to have Jordan Love here at number 12. Now here's a guy that I just go back and forth on so much. He'll be 31 years old in 2031. Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I made this ranking a year ago, pre-Liam Cohen, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is making this ranking. I don't even know if he's making this ranking after the first 5 weeks this year, but there's something about Liam Cohen that I trust here in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags have had their best season since Trevor Lawrence got drafted in the 2021 draft. We know it was a disastrous rookie year with Urban Meyer. Doug Peterson made Lawrence look competent, but it felt like after year number 2, all the way up until last year, we were kind of going downwards a little bit with Trevor Lawrence. But this year, we have seen the big time plays on display. He finished with a 12-4 record throughout 16 games, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, around 3,700 yards right now, 60% completion percentage. I could not tell you who their receiving core is going to be in 2031. I can't even tell you who it's going to be next year. Travis Hunter could just be made a full-time corner, and Brian Thomas could be traded this offseason. At least they extended Jacoby Myers. I like Brendan Strange as a tight end. Is it going to be Tudor? Is it going to be Etienne as their running back moving forward? Either way, I do feel like Lawrence has the talent and the potential and the ceiling to finish close in this top 10. You may think that he's a top 10 quarterback already, and he just has to age better, right? Just being more experienced, more wise, and just having more reps as an NFL starting quarterback where he's got to be at least close to the top 10. Like I said, this also comes back on my faith in Liam Cohen as an offensive mind. He looked great with Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa Bay. He's looked really good with Jacksonville this year, but this one could definitely come back and bite me. Another one that could come back and bite me, Brock Purdy coming in at number 10. Brock Purdy's 31 years old. I don't think Brock Purdy and Bo Nix are that far apart, and Bo Nix was my top honorable mention, but Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan is a duo that I could trust. It's really just my faith in Kyle Shanahan over the next 5 years. As long as he doesn't retire, I know that whoever their quarterback is going to be a good quarterback. That's just what happens when Kyle Shanahan is your coach, and he's made Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, look like a $50 million a year quarterback. Brock Purdy has been banged up here in 2025, but he's 7-1 this year as a starter, 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions in those 8 games. He finished 4th in MVP voting in that 2023 season, leading the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl. Last year, everybody was banged up in San Francisco, and that's the one cause of concern moving forward because Christian McCaffrey is on the older side. George Kittle's getting up there in age. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be on this roster next year. I don't know if Jawan Jennings is going to be on this roster either. The offensive line still has a little bit of work to be done with, but the fact that the Niners are also competing for the 1 seed in week 18 with all these injuries on both offense and defense this year, it just comes back on Kyle Shanahan. This is a head coach that I could trust to get top 15, top quarterback play out of whoever is under center moving forward. Brock Purdy signed that huge extension with San Francisco last year, so I believe he's going to be their starting quarterback in 2031, and as long as Kyle Shanahan doesn't retire, I actually feel kind of good about this one. Another guy I just can't quit. He comes in at number 9, CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud looks so good as a rookie in that 2023 season, and it felt like it's gone downhill a little bit since. Now, this one is really just banking on the potential of Stroud moving forward. Even last year, it was a disastrous season for that offensive line. They still went 10-7. I know the defense is elite, but I could trust CJ Stroud to just get you to the playoffs. This year, he's 8-5 as a starter going into week number 18. 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, about 2,800 yards. Now on his second offensive coordinator as well. He hasn't really had much of a run game this year. It's been Woody Marks. It's been Nick Chubb at times because Joe Mixon had this serious injury nobody really knew about. The offensive line is starting to get better. I'm starting to see CJ Stroud look a little bit more comfortable. He's getting his rookies involved in the passing attack. He still has that wide receiver one in Nico Collins who isn't going anywhere. Maybe Tank Dell looks serviceable next year off that gruesome injury. And I think this is also like a high floor, but also a high ceiling pick as well. CJ Stroud will be 29, and maybe by then I just realized he's not going to be that top 10 quarterback we all thought he was after his rookie season, where he threw for 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. But hey, 3 years in this league, 3 playoff appearances. I think Stroud could be a top 10 QB in 5 years. I might be too low on this guy. You may think I'm too high. He'll be 32 years old. I have Justin Herbert coming in at number 8 for the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, talent-wise, he's still a top 5 quarterback in this league, in my opinion. And Herbert obviously got off to that phenomenal start in his career, throwing for 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, winning Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2020. He follows that up with a 5,000-yard passing season, 38 touchdowns for the Chargers. He finishes top 10 in MVP voting in the 2022 season. Now, what Herbert doesn't have is a playoff win at the moment, but I still think talent-wise, this is a super safe pick as a top 10 quarterback in this league. I think he's going to age just fine. He'll be 32. It's not like that's a crazy age anymore. We've seen Tom Brady play into his 40s. Maybe the numbers aren't going to always look as sexy with Jim Harbaugh as his head coach, who likes to ground and pound, who likes to build up the offensive game plan through the running attack. And what feels like a down year for the Chargers in their passing attack, Herbert is still going to throw close to 4,000 yards, playing through multiple injuries this year. This guy's an absolute gamer. I feel good about this one as well. All right, I'm going with a volatile play here at number 7. He gets hurt a lot because he takes a ton of hits. He will be 30 years old. I know year 2 hasn't been as good as year 1. I do have Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Last year, Jayden Daniels brought the Commanders to the NFC Championship game as a rookie. When you looked around, the roster wasn't great. In hindsight, that is showing us that this team overachieved because of what Jayden Daniels was able to do. 25 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,500 yards. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He finished 7th in MVP voting as well. He had 891 rushing yards. This year, only 278 yards throughout 7 games. Like I said, he has dealt with multiple injuries, which is the scary part about putting him here at number 7, but he's only going to be 30 years old. I still think he's going to be a dual threat quarterback in 2030. And I wonder who his head coach is going to be. Will it be Dan Quinn? Will Cliff Kingsbury even be his offensive coordinator next year? Nobody really knows. He does have an older receiving core of Terry McLaurin, who's on the wrong side of 30, and Deebo Samuel. His tight end, Zach Ertz, was getting up there in age as well. Austin Eckler is the running back. This is a very old team. So I think over the next few years, Adam Peters will hopefully get younger and younger around Jayden Daniels, and they could be a perennial playoff team throughout the next 5 years. In the nation's capital, they're about to get a new stadium. I trust Jayden Daniels because he won the Heisman in 2023. He won Rookie of the Year in 2024. He's only played 7 games this year because of injuries, and we could see how old and just not good this Commanders team is around him. So this one could definitely come back and bite me. Now, here's where things get a little bit tough. I could be way high on him. I could be low on him. He's going to be 33 years old in 2031. Lamar Jackson's coming in at number 6. And this one, I don't know if I feel good about. But it's Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP winner that should have maybe had 3 MVPs after last year's runner-up finish to Josh Allen. I know this year has not been great for Lamar, but the offensive line, the defense, a lot of guys have been banged up, including Lamar this year. It looks like he's suiting up for week 18 for that AFC North divisional crown against the Steelers. But Lamar has 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in those 12 games this year. He had 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions last year, 4,100 passing yards. And the guy just rushes for over 900 yards, it feels like, every single year. And that's the one thing that scares me a little bit about Lamar, just because he'll be 33. How mobile is he going to be in the pocket? Maybe Eric DeCosta completely revamps this offensive line, which allows Lamar to be more of a pocket passer than somebody that needs to scramble to be effective. Maybe they need to get actually a wide receiver 1. I feel like Lamar still hasn't had a top 10, top 15 receiver since he got drafted back in 2018. No disrespect to somebody like Zay Flowers, but I do feel like if we can get Lamar that number 1, we can get the offensive line a little bit more improved. Lamar can actually age gracefully into his early 30s. I don't think Derrick Henry will still be doing it in 2031, but you never know with him. This one is also a variance play as well. I'm just trusting Lamar Jackson and his talented arm to figure out a way to age fine into his age 33 season. But if that doesn't happen and he looks noticeably slower out there, he might not even be in the top 15. Now, somebody that should age a little bit better than Lamar because he doesn't rely on his mobility whatsoever, Joe Burrow, who I have here at number 5. He's going to be 34 years old. The thing with Joe Burrow, will he even want to play football then? I feel like we're getting Andrew Luck 2.0 vibes from Joe Burrow. So honestly, I would feel better about this pick if Joe Burrow is not playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. But quarterbacks like Joe Burrow do not grow on trees. So I still think he's going to be a Bengal by then. I just hope that front office invests more into the offensive line and the defense side of the ball as well, just so we could see Joe Burrow back in the playoffs, because they ended up going to the Super Bowl in that 2021 season. Then they lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game in 2022. And now 3 years in a row, we have not seen a top 5 quarterback in the NFL make it to the playoffs. He threw for 4,900 yards last year and 43 touchdowns and didn't make the playoffs. That is mind-blowing. And he still has great wide receiver help in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He's obviously a top 5 talent in this league. It's just, how does his motivation and his will to want to play football still look in 5 years from now? Because if he's still motivated to win at the highest level in the NFL, I actually think this is going to be fine. I just hope he doesn't retire by then. And then also coming in at number 4, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, who's going to be around 34 years old, who also relies a ton on his feet as well. So this one scares me kind of like Lamar Jackson, because you can make an argument that Lamar is even a more talented thrower than Josh Allen as well. I just feel like Josh Allen has a higher floor and a little bit less variance than Lamar Jackson over the next 5 years, because Josh Allen has actually stayed fairly healthy. I think Lamar is going to be in Baltimore in 2031, but there's been reports and rumors over the last few weeks that have been kind of odd. I mean, in what feels like a down Josh Allen year, he's still going to throw for over 3,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to run for over 500 yards as well. I just wonder if Sean McDermott is going to be his head coach in 2031. How are the receivers going to look there as well? I doubt Keon Coleman or maybe anybody here on this team will be there. Maybe Dalton Kincaid will still be his tight end. So I actually think Josh Allen is probably closer to 5, in which I have him here at 4, than I think he could be closer to 1. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. And then here at number 3, this is a take. This is maybe my hottest take of the video. Coming in at number 3, he's going to be 29 years old. Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. I loved Caleb Williams coming into USC. Not a hot take whatsoever. He literally won a Heisman Award at USC and went number 1 overall. But when everybody was kind of down on Caleb last year, I still said I would take him number 1 overall in a redraft. Now, after a fellow draft mate of Caleb Williams this season this year, it's okay not to have Caleb number 1. I just think he's going to be a top 5 talent in this league. And one, I trust Ben Johnson as his offensive-minded head coach who is going to get the best out of Caleb Williams throughout the next 5 years. He's still just 24 years old. It was a disastrous year number 1 with Matt Eberflus. I still thought we saw more good than bad. And this year, Caleb, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The Chicago Bears are going to make the playoffs this year. That is very tough to do for a Bears team that has had a disappointing season after disappointing season, which feels like for the last 15 years. Outside of that double doink year, Caleb Williams is also super mobile as well. He's going to rush for about 400 yards this year, and he's got maybe some of the best arm talent in this league. He could throw absolute darts all over the field. They've invested in the offensive line. They've invested in the running game and the receivers around him. Colston Loveland, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, these guys are so young and should all still be here in 2031 with the offensive mastermind in Ben Johnson. So coaching helps out a ton as well. I think Caleb Williams could show everybody that he's a top 5 talent in the NFL in 5 years from now. And if this Bears team could just be good enough of a roster around Caleb Williams, I think they're going to make the playoffs year after year, and he's going to look like a top 3 quarterback in this league. But coming in at number 2, I have Drake May. Drake May might end up winning MVP this year, so it was hard not to put him a little bit higher than some of these other guys behind him. He will be about a year younger than Caleb Williams. He'll be 28 years old in the 2031 season. Drake May this year has been unreal in year number 2. Like Caleb Williams last year, disastrous season with Gerard Mayo as his head coach, but he still looked the part when you're watching the tape and watching the film. This year, Drake May has had an actual MVP season, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 71% completion percentage, a 13-3 record as a starter, leading the NFL in passer rating, leading the NFL in yards per attempt. He's also going to rush for over 400 yards as well, so he could still be a dual threat quarterback and is going to be in his prime at 28 years old. It still feels like the Patriots offensive line isn't even close to being a complete unit. Will Campbell looks like a great step in the right direction, but I feel like they can improve a ton as well. Who are his receivers going to be? Stephon Diggs has been great this year, but I think we can get a better wide receiver 1 over the next 5 years. I think Travion Henderson is going to be such a good running back for Drake May as well. And I also trust Mike Vrabel, who has just been a winner in the National Football League as a head coach. He might even win Coach of the Year this year. Drake Maye might even win MVP. So coming in at number 2, I got Drake Maye. And coming in at number 1, I also might be delusional with this one. I have Aaron Rodgers of my Pittsburgh Steelers. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be 47 years. I'm just kidding. I have Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be 35 years old. He's going to be the oldest quarterback that I've talked about here in my top 15. So there's a ton of risk into thinking with this. And I know he's coming off an ACL tear, and maybe he doesn't look like a top 5 quarterback next year when he returns. But in 2031, I'm really hoping that Kansas City Chiefs, who don't really have a great ownership, who might be going through some massive organizational changes. I don't know if I can even believe that Andy Reid will still be here in 2031, but I hope they realize that we need to be more aggressive around Patrick Mahomes, and we've been kind of too complacent. It's always kind of been the mindset of like Patrick Mahomes will always make us look a little bit better than we actually are. I hope this season now gets them going in the other direction. Maybe we see a different offensive coordinator by then. Maybe it's no longer Matt Nagy. Because Patrick Mahomes this year has played like a top 5 quarterback when you're watching the tape and the film, but his receiving core has not really been great. Rashee Rice was suspended for about half of the season. Travis Kelce's most likely retiring at the end of the year. They probably have the worst running back unit in the NFL behind Mahomes, and they're definitely feeling the loss of Joe Thuney in the offseason when they traded him to the Chicago Bears. Still don't know why they did that, but I still believe that Patrick Mahomes is a top 3 talent in the NFL, and he's always just going to be a floor raiser and a ceiling raiser in Kansas City. They're always going to be a good enough team with him under center. I know this year has not been the case, but I think it's going to be a wake-up call for Kansas City. You could definitely have Drake Maye 1. You can have Caleb Williams 1. Hey, you can have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or maybe you have Bo Nix 1. One of my honorable mentions, but I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes here, who will be 35 years old, and I just think is a safe pick to at least finish in the top 3, so that's why I have him here at number 1. So I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with, and in 5 years, we can react to this video. I'll react to the comments, and I'll see who was right throughout this. And if you guys did enjoy this video, I'd appreciate you leaving a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. We got the playoffs right around the corner. Going to be dropping a mock draft right after the regular season ends, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.